Welcome back to America Right Now. In a recent op-ed for the New York Post, acclaimed journalist and New York Times best-selling author KenTimmerman details his extensive resume in the media industry and talks about the state of journalism in this country. And he joins us now to discuss his national security and foreign policy advisory board for Trump for president, and also author of the book "And the Rest is History: Tales of Hostages, Arms Dealers, Dirty Tricks, and Spies." I love the title. KenTimmerman, good to have you with us.
Thanks, Tom.
Ken, tell us more about this book and why write it now?
Well, look, this is the story of a transformation. It's how I went from being a left bank intellectual in Paris, a pot-smoking, philandering, anti-Israel zealot, went to Beirut as a reporter and underwent a transformation. I was born again as a Christian. I was kidnapped by the very people that I was intending to go cover, the Palestinians. Spent 24 days as a hostage, with many other people. At the end of that experience, when we were getting bombed day and night in the place where we were, all of the so-called officers from the Palestinians left. So we were being held by 13 and 14-year-old kids with Kalashnikovs. And I got to tell you, teenagers with guns,
right,
with no adult supervision, is pretty scary.
Yeah, I can only imagine. You know, there have been a lot of egregious examples of media bias, sloppy journalism, or even intentional manipulation. I'm sure that you've seen throughout the course of your career. Is there one or two that really stands out to you?
Sure. There are a couple of things. Let me just take Iran to begin with.
Sure.
I was on the ground in Beirut when the U.S. embassy was bombed in '83, again later on that year when the U.S. Marines were hit as well. And we never were able to get to the story of Iranian involvement. It took over 20 years for that story to come out. Why? Because people in government didn't want the truth to come out. So that's the first thing. By the way, we're still seeing that today.
Sure.
And I would not be surprised that some of these classified documents in Mar-a-Lago that were taken by the FBI involved with the U.S. intelligence community knew about Iran's nuclear weapons program. The second one is Communist China. So I came back to the United States to work for Democrats in Congress. Tom Lantos, a Holocaust survivor, was fired in less than a year because I began investigating U.S. shipments of high technology to Communist China. Well, it turned out it was not just shipments of new equipment. The Chinese were also buying the B-1 bomber plant. So I investigated that for Time magazine. They were very hot about the story. We were ready to do a 4-page insert. And then somebody from the administration, the Clinton administration, complained, and I was fired on the spot.
Wow. That
story of China buying U.S. military technology has now given them the capability to have fifth-generation stealth fighters.
You know, Ken, confidence in journalism is at an all-time low. How do you think we turn that around? Is it possible?
It is possible. I think what we need is a new generation of young people who understand what journalism is all about. And it's about following the facts wherever they lead, not following a narrative and then finding the facts to fit that narrative. I never understood as a younger reporter, even when I was writing for the New York Times or Newsweek or Time magazine, I never understood this notion that there was a narrative and you had to fit the facts to it. It always seemed to me that you followed the facts first. If they had political consequences for Republicans, so be it. If they had political consequences for Democrats, so be it. But that is no longer the case. We have a partisan press now. And that's a shame.
Yeah, I used to deal with this when I was over in Iraq all the time, and you deal with the press, and they decided what the headline was going to be before they even started talking to you. And if it was a narrative that they didn't agree with, you suddenly had no credibility, and they were going to go find a source that fit the narrative. And it really just has to stop. Real quick, Ken, how do you think the press has handled the raid thus far this week?
Well, it's obviously the same thing. There's a partisan press. You see, what used to be the mainstream media, the legacy media, if you wish, have treated it one way, and I think Fox News and Newsmax and others who are more honest are looking at what Alan Dershowitz has talked about, some of these constitutional issues. Look, Donald Trump is being treated worse than a drug dealer. That's unbelievable in this country.
All right. No, the book is The Rest is History: Tales of Hostages, Arms Dealers, Dirty Tricks, and Spies. Check it out, folks. Ken Timmerman, thank you so much for being here, sir.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for having me.
And stay with us. The second hour of America Right Now begins right now.